Warm greetings, everyone. We're glad you've joined us live for today's MAI webinar, How to Organize and Nurture a Local Christian Writers Group. 50 of you, 50, have registered from 24 countries. Greetings from MAI. This is Ramon Rocha. Q&A time is after the speaker's presentation. Please use the Q&A or the chat window for your questions. Writing could be a lonesome task. Sometimes a writer gets discouraged or hits a roadblock. We are at a loss how to start or how to persevere to complete a writing project. Well, you don't have to be alone. We hope this webinar will be helpful to you as we tackle the topic, how to organize and nurture a local Christian writers group. I would like to thank Ken Dickerson from South Korea, who sent in his question ahead of time, and he asked an important question. How do you get people to come to meetings? And here to answer that question and to share hers and CLC Kenya's experience is Muthoni Mercy Omukhango. She is the Business Development Manager and Head of Publishing at CLC Kenya. Let us all welcome Muthoni.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Muthoni, and start your presentation.
Okay, thank you very much, Ramon, even for the invitation. CLC Kenya is greatly honored to be able to share our experience and things we've done right, mistakes we made, and the lessons that we've learned, and hope that we'll be able to inspire other people to start their own writers group or even to continue with what they are doing. I would like to start with the webinar objectives. And one of them is how to run a financially sustainable group, how to serve others or to serve the writers, how to use technology to automate, and how not to reinvent the wheel, but just to realign it for your group, and the importance of partnerships. I'll keep using interchanging writers with authors because in Kenya, we use mostly authors, or in CLC Kenya. And the first question that would want to answer is, why should you convene a writers group? And one of the reasons, there could be many reasons depending on the circumstances or your circumstances, but one of the reasons is you want to provide a platform to nurture and shape content. You'd want to give members a competitive advantage. You'd want to keep members informed of the publishing industry. You'd also want to provide an environment to gain security and trust. You can also form it as a platform for writers to meet fellow writers for mutual support. It could also be a platform to get writers from their busy lives to just come to your group or to your meeting to get refreshed in their writing journey, and then also to meet the need for a community of writers, and especially Christian writers. And more so for our case, it's also to contribute to one's editorial excellence. In 2018, we attended, CLC Kenya was privileged to attend Africa Speaks in the US. And one of the things that stood out for us is it's not just important for a book to be published, but how good is the book? Because it's that excellence that will make the book reach the audience or the readers. And then understanding that the quality of writing affects the message. So sometimes we have interacted with writers who have very good content, but it's very badly written, or some that just need a little bit of help and encouragement. to get them to pass on the message in a more excellent way. And now that is the need for you as the person convening the meeting. But we also have the needs that a writer has to be able to want to belong in a group. As Ramon started while doing the introduction, writing can be a very solitary occupation. If you've written, sometimes there are so many things that are going on in your mind as you're writing your book as a writer. And it is also hard work. So you need somewhere where you can go and feel that you are appreciated for the hard work that you have put into your book. It also needs a lot of dedication of time and mind space. Sometimes you get a mind block and you're thinking, I just need somebody to say something encouraging for me to be able to move forward. For those who have written, there's always that thought in your mind where you're thinking, will my book be acceptable? Will it be appreciated? Is it going to meet the need I'm thinking of? And so forth. And there's also that sheer thrill when your content or your book is accepted, and you want a group where, as a writer, you want a group where you will also have other people share with you on the joy of acceptance or success of your book project. You also want people who will celebrate with you the small or big milestones. And you also want to test the competition. You go to a group and you realize you're 5 of you targeting the same group, for example, maybe the youth. And so you're able to check, how am I doing as far as the competition is concerned. You also need somewhere where you can overcome the fear that your book is not good enough. And you also want a group where you can evaluate how your writing is a service to God, humanity, and not just for your self-indulgence. And so in this group, you get an opportunity to be able to explain to people, because then you form a good fellowship, and you're able to explain how your book or how your writing is a service to others. I'll talk a little bit about CLC Kenya Authors Club to just form a foundation of where we've come from and where we are right now. We had this desire in 2015. CLC Kenya started in 2007, so we've done about 11 years of the book industry in Kenya and in East Africa. Now, when we started, we did about 8 years of books and Bible distribution. But in 2015, we started print on demand. And with that print on demand, we started to see the need that was there in our community. And we desired that we would actually form a writers group or an authors club to be able to support the authors that we were serving through print on demand. And while we had the plans in 2015, we did not actualize them until mid-2018. And so to say that God may have given you the vision, but just be patient to make sure that it's actualized in God's perfect timing. Currently, we have we serve about 150 writers, and between them, they have about 320 titles. And we've done that in the last 5 years from 2015. But then in 2018, when we realized that we are serving different people, individuals, but then they do not belong to any group to just be able to share their challenges and their discouragement and their achievements and so forth. So we launched the group in 2018, September, and it's going to mention that you also need an enabling environment to be able to do your launch if you've not already done. Now, for us, the book fair was a good platform for us. Our Nairobi book fair usually has an attendance of about maybe 20,000 people in a span of like five days. And so we picked one of the days on a Saturday, and we had a space, seminar hall, where now we did the launch of a club to also just be able to sensitize the other people who do want to belong to the club or who are not shown interest that there's actually a writers group in Kenya or in happening in that book fair. Now, for some people, depending on your circumstance, your enabling environment could be maybe a church, could be maybe at the workplace, could be, it's just where most people will be available at a particular time, and that helps you to have less work to do to actually be able to do the launch. It's important to also set the agenda or the purpose for your writers group. The agendas or the purposes can be so many. For some, is to just support the writers. The purpose could just be to train the writers or help writers to sell their books or help to shape the content. So you need to decide on that before you actually do the launch, because then you want to be very specific and very focused on that agenda. For COC Kenya, our agenda is to train the writers and also to give them a platform to network. And so that shapes everything we do in every meeting. I want to talk about the launch for the people the conveners who've actually not launched their writers group. One, you want to minimize costs. I know it's good to give, but then if you don't minimize the cost, then it doesn't become sustainable. You can use a free venue whenever possible, maybe an office space. For us, we had already paid the book fair space, so it wasn't an additional cost for us. It could maybe a church hall or a seminar hall that you can access for free or for an affordable price or cost. Then you also want somewhere where there is also secure parking, where people feel safe and they can focus. You don't want people to be rushing out to check on different things. You just want people to feel safe in that space so that they can give you the attention for the span of the period of your launch. Then, as I've mentioned, look for an enabling environment. If your target group, or if you can access maybe like church setup or work setup, that will be good for you, because then you do less work to set up and do the actual launch. Then find how you can give free giveaways and freebies. For us, we decided, because we have been in the book industry selling and distributing books for the last 11 years, for us, books are always the best giveaways for us. Look for things that will not cost you too much or make you go too much out of your way to provide for that. Then look at how you can sell other products for sustainability. For example, for us, when we did the launch at the book fair, we understand where a booth where we would sell the books. And so during the launch on that specific day, we moved one of the tables near at the entrance of the hall, the seminar hall where we were doing the launch, and people were able to come and buy the books. And then invite other like-minded partners. It also gives you credibility when people can see you working with other people in the industry. These are a few photos from our launch. On the top left, we have the authors at the front. On this particular launch, we decided to focus on 10 authors who had signed up before this time at a fee to belong to the club. And with this, we just highlighted them and honor them and just display their books and just be able to talk about their books, which was a very good thing, because then they were able to sell, and it was a win-win for the authors and also for COC Kenya as the publisher and distributor of the books. And we also had the photo on bottom left. We gave free books to the participants or the people who came for the launch of the club, and we just ask questions and make the launch fun and let people just have healthy competition. to be able to win something. It was also a point of honor for the different people that won. I talked about partners. There are always people in your scope that you can easily reach out to, or somebody you know that knows somebody else who can attend your launch. For example, for us, we were able to get Rose Birenge, who is from MAI Africa and also from Biblica Africa. And it was an honor for us for her to come, and she did a speech for about 5 minutes. And also we used her as a guest to award our authors. We also had Gabriel Jinda from the Writers Guild of Kenya. That was also an honor because already Gabriel has a pool of authors, and this gives credibility to CLC's own writers group. And then we also had Hannah Rasmussen from Oasis International. And these are all people or partners whom we share the same values as far as Christian publishing is concerned. And so for them to attend our launch for our writers group was an honorable thing for us, but also it gave us credibility because then other people are able to see that we are working with other partners. Now, I would also want to say on your launch, maximize on technology. We were able to invite 2 guests who were in the US at that time, and it did not cost anything apart from just a little internet for us to connect. And so beforehand, like maybe 2 weeks or so before the launch, we had the recordings, video clips from Jeremy Johnson, who is from Oasis International, and he spoke and addressed, gave a very specific message to the people attending the launch, and he talked on the need for editorial excellence coming from Kenya and Africa, and that was also very good because people are able to see there are other people outside our country who are interested in what we are doing. Then we had Ramon Rocha, MAI, and Ramon spoke about marketing strategies for authors, and we were able to play the 2 clips, video clips. We were able to play that from a projector, and that was really good because then the authors were able to see that we have other partners who are interested in what we are doing. I would want to share a scripture from 1 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 12 and 27. And it says, for as the body is one and has many members, and all the members of that one body, being many, are one body, so also is Christ. And whether one member suffer, all the members suffer with it, or one member be honored, all the members rejoice with it. Now you're the body of Christ and members in particular. And to say that it's important for us to recognize that we are the body of Christ, and so we supply the strength to each other in the different ways. So as you form your writers group, is to understand that you are supplying strength, but also not because as the convener, you're not the expert in everything, that you will bring other people in the group who have other expertise, and so allow people to supply the strength as the Lord enables. We can talk briefly about after the launch. So assuming the launch was very successful and you got your attendance and everything went well, then what? And it's important to say that you need now to plan on what will really happen after the launch. And one of the things that we've learned is that you need to choose a consistent venue. People get comfortable with the familiar. So if you choose a particular venue, probably the first meeting, it will be difficult for people to find where you are. But once people get used to that, then it becomes easier for people to attend. And then the second point, you need to choose your frequency. People are happy with consistency. So if you decide you will do monthly or quarterly, semi-annually or annually, that will be important for you to keep that. For CLC Kenya, we have a meeting every 6 weeks, which is important because then people can anticipate that every 6 weeks there will be a meeting. And so it becomes easier for everybody. Like I appreciate the MAI webinars. They are always every mid of the month. So always, I know at least at about mid of the month, there will be a webinar. So let people know you for consistency, that you know exactly where people are able to tell when the meeting will happen. And so they can plan their lives around that. Then choose the timing and keep to it. You can decide whether you want to do a full day or a half day or a few hours. The first writing group or meeting we did it for 4 hours. And at the end of the 4 hours, even the writers who had joined us agreed that it was too little of time. And so the next meeting we adjusted, and now we do ours on half day. Then you have to decide on the program. You have to decide what you really want to do. One of the lessons that we've learned is it's important for you to decide on the theme in the program so that it's not different all the time. And so you know what comes at what time. And now you can feed in whatever the specific task you want done during the program. This is an example of a program for one of our meetings. So we have registration and networking. So people come in, we always start at 8. So people come in at about 7:50 to about 8 a.m. on a Saturday. And you register, and we give people about 15 minutes or 20 minutes to just be able to know each other and catch up. If there are those people who know one another, then they're able to catch up. And we do prayers for us because it's a Christian writers group. We do prayers, then we have our opening remarks. In some of the meetings, we do ask people to purchase a book. Then we have like for this particular one, we had decided that we are going to do foundational ingredients that make a book project successful, and then discuss on multiple venues to sell books and all that. Then after like 2 hours, we have a networking break where we serve people tea and refreshments. And then we come back and have another 2 hours. Now, in this particular meeting, we actually thought we'll be able to do all the 3 items listed here: how to get booked as a speaker at conferences, then how to find the right audience, how to run your book program. But then we realized that we were over ambitious with the program. And so I canceled those 2 items because we were not able to do that. And we needed to keep time. And so we agreed that we can only do 1. So as much as we had sent out the program and shown that we will do those other 3 items after the networking break, we had to cancel those 2 so that we have enough time on how to be booked as a speaker at conferences. And so it's important for you to not put too much in a program because people will ask questions. It's a free group, so there will be questions. Maybe you need to pray for somebody. And so if the program is too overcrowded, then you will have to rush and not be able to achieve your objectives. Then after we have awards, we always give a free book during our meetings. And so we award different things. Then we have lunch, and we allow people to leave when, of course, usually it's like 2 hours or 3 hours after, depending on the amount of interaction that people want. I'll talk a little bit about you as the leader or the convener of the writing group. The first thing is to say that you need to be prayerful and more honestly for the group. It's important because then if it's God who led you to convene the group or to start the group, then you have to continuously rely on God to just be able to know what's the content that needs to be discussed, or how often you need to have the meetings, who should you invite, where should you find them, and so be prayerful. It seems like a very basic instruction, but it is the foundational instruction. You have to be a very prayerful person to succeed in running a writers group. Then you need to be a good listener. Remember, you're serving the writers, and so it's less of talking and more of listening, so that you're able to hear on the pain points for these writers, and then you can offer the solution. Then don't push your agenda. It's about the writers, not about you. So you must be meeting a need. Probably the need could be the writers need a space where they just come and sit and just write. And so you might not do the training like COC Kenya does. And so if you're not listening, you can easily end up just doing the trainings and not meeting the needs of the writers. Then you have to be genuine in caring for the people, and God always rewards that. And then you need to know the members and their milestones. You will always need to interact with the members during the time that you're not actually doing the meeting. So for us, in the 6 weeks before we do the meeting, we are always interacting with the writers and asking what's happening and what milestones do you have, what challenges do you have. And then you have to learn to delegate. Otherwise, you will burn out. You can easily find yourself doing everything, and convening a meeting becomes such a painful experience for you and not enjoyable. So whatever can be delegated, please do delegate. And then just know that you do not have to chair all the meetings. You can raise other people, and they will be able to, when you raise others, they'll be able to do what you can do very well. Then you need your key support team. One, you need a host or facilitator. This is the person that ensures the program flows. For example, for us, because we do trainings, so I would be the one to prepare for the actual training work. And then I have somebody else from the office who ensures that the program is going to flow well and keep us on check in terms of time and welcome people. And so you have a facilitator so that you're not doing everything. And then you can have an administrator, or it could be a person as the host, facilitator, and administrator. But if you can't have an administrator, this is the person that ensures the venue is ready. Maybe there are chairs that need to be moved from one place to another. Maybe there are stationaries that need to be placed on the desks or on the chairs. And then if you're offering any meals, probably the person to follow up the caterer, because you don't want to be interacting with the writers and you're still on phone, you're calling the caterer and they're stuck somewhere, or, and stuff like that. And then these two people have to be invested in the vision as much as you are. So these are not random people, these are your key support team. And so sometimes it could be a friend, it could be a colleague, depending on your circumstance. I could easily say that when we did the launch at the book fair, the person who was my administrator was actually my friend from school, Christine, and she did an awesome job because she understood what we really wanted to achieve, and she was like, yeah, I can come on board, let me know what you need done. And so she will be the person following up to make sure that everything is in place, to give now the CLC Kenya staff that space to be able to focus on the things on the actual day. And then preparing for the meeting. If you can, personalize invitations. One of the trainings, we were honored to have one of the most key pastors or reverends in our city attend the meeting, and she had seen the advertisement on social media and on WhatsApp, And she was like, oh, that's a good meeting. But when I got to meet her and talked to her and interacted with her and shared with her about the meeting, it was so personalized and explaining why the meeting is important for her. She actually came for the meeting. Now, this is just an example to show that this is a very busy reverend and very inaccessible. But because we had that one-on-one and the invitation was personalized, then they were able to come for the meeting, and it was a very good meeting. Then allow for contact before the meeting, especially for newcomers. A good example would be probably Kent, who sent a message, the questions beforehand. So you want to make sure that you are accessible, maybe on phone, on email, for people to ask for different things. Sometimes it can just be directions, or sometimes it just be clarification on what your group is about. And so you want to make sure that you give your contacts to be able to, for people to be able to access you before the actual day of the meeting. Then advertise if you need more attendees. Social media is free for the most part. You can have the paid adverts, which doesn't cost so much, maybe $10 or $15 or so. But then the most critical thing is that you have to find your watering hole. Now, this is to mean that, for example, you want to start a group for older women. Maybe your group is for people in their 60s. Don't advertise on maybe Facebook, for example, in Kenya, because most of them will probably not be there. Probably you might want to put your advert maybe in a church bulletin. And so you have to find which platform is good for you to be able to advertise. Then you can share articles about your members' achievements, especially for people already running a writers group. You can talk about their book launches, or maybe their TV or radio appearances, their podcast conferences they are speaking about. Or you can even have a magazine, an online one or a printed one, or a website where you feature your members. This is saying that people always want to board a bus that is moving. And so even as you try to get in more members, you have to keep moving, because people want to know that you are already going somewhere with your writers group. I always say honor the writers in your group. This could be a very inexpensive, like it doesn't cost you anything. For us in COC Kenya, what we've purposed is we may not bring in those experts, paid or non-paid from out there. And so for every meeting, we have one of our writers who is the guest author or the guest speaker. And this has been a very good platform to be able to honor them. If I can give an example of the April training forum that we had, we were discussing content marketing strategies for authors, and we invited 2 of our authors to be able to come and speak to the people. We had an attendance of about maybe 20 participants. And so the gentleman at the center on the right, that's Washington Blessing. He was one of our speakers. And the lady is Nelly Kagoru. She's also one of the authors published through CLC Kenya. And so, it's important, because if I can give you this example, is when I said, okay, would be honored for you to, and you invite them professionally and let them feel it's an important thing to come and do. And you said we'll be honored as CLC Kenya if you'd come and speak to us about content marketing strategies for authors. And they're like, oh, one of them was like, oh, I don't know what I can speak about that. And so you have to work with them and guide them and be able to show them what is already in their lives that they can share with other people. And of course, it will need a bit of time to be able to train different people, but it's such an honorable thing. In the June training we had, which happened just the other weekend, we had Julie and Julie had done a book, or is actually still publishing a book. It's not completely out there, but she's in the process, and she's done an autobiography on pain to heal. And it was such an honor for her to come and share with other people about her journey in writing that autobiography, and also her story. And it's a good thing, because then people know that you honor them, you take them seriously, and it gives more, it's a motivation point for others who are in the group to just be able to know they will also get a chance at some point. Now we can talk about on the due day, on the day that you've picked to have your meeting. You need to keep time and adhere to the program. People want to know that you honor them, because if you said you finish at 1 p.m., you actually finish at 1 p.m. If you say this is the program, then you're going to follow that. If you have to deviate from the program, maybe you would need to ask for permission, or let people know why there's a change of program. Then on the due day, share more info on new openings for writing or training or book sales. You, as the convener, you have to be the more knowledgeable one. Otherwise, people want to know that you have something to offer them. And then pull the expertise from the group. In one of the meetings, we were discussing how to do a podcast, and realized that one of the people that was coming for the meeting, she was a newcomer, and she had actually done her podcast for several months. And so as the trainer, you have to stop and let her share on her experiences. And so just make sure that you're pulling on the expertise from the different people. And then encourage and support those who feel that their writing journey or their book project journey is tough. Remember, this is depending on why you started the writers group. This is a platform where your writers come and get encouragement. Just make sure they don't faint in their journey. And in one of the meetings, we had a young man who had done 2 books, and saying because he had not sold anything, he was discouraged, and he had decided to stop writing or selling or doing anything with those books because it wasn't working for him. And the meeting stopped for about 5 minutes or 10 minutes, and we took time to speak to him. Even the writers in the group, they're speaking to him, encouraging him, and we prayed for him. And it was such a powerful place, because now the following week, he was calling now COC Kenya to ask on how can I do this, can I proceed in this? And so that's the main reason why you're running the writers group. Then rejoice with those who have hit certain milestones. If somebody has sold X number and that was their target, then celebrate with them. Take maybe 5 minutes or so, appreciate them, and let the group know, and just celebrate that milestone. Maybe somebody was pursuing to appear on a TV program or so, or on radio, or meet a certain person. Then just stop and rejoice with that person. Then you have to raise personal standards of excellence for the glory of God. We are always perfecting ourselves. And so if there is anything that is not really good, then with wisdom, you have to be able to bring your writers to a higher place. A few years back, we had an author who had done a book, and I presume now the cover had been done from a Word document, so it was not very well done. The layout of the book, we could tell, was not done from a professional software, and so the book was not really good. But just because of being in that gentleman, being in the writers group, then you're able to keep talking about why excellence is important, why maybe a cover affects how people perceive your book. And so with time, he was actually able to move and say, okay, I think I need help in this, and we were able to help him. And then connect people where possible. As the convener or as the leader, you're the person that is more knowledgeable on everybody in the group. And so maybe I can give an example. In one of the meetings, we had a counselor, a trained counselor, and we had a lady who was a mother to a child who wanted to pursue counseling. And so because this lady was just speaking and saying, I'm a bit stuck on how to advise my daughter, and we came in as COC Kenya and say, you know what, this lady is actually a counselor, and now I know they are good friends, and the child has been able to find the help that they needed. Another way that was not even related to the writing itself, but it was a good thing to just be able to network and connect people, because you can see the need and you can see who has the solution to that need. In another meeting, we had somebody who wanted to publish in her scholarly work in a particular platform. And we knew that there was another writer in the same group who had already done that. And so you just connect those two and they were able to work together. Then give assignments, benchmark, and encourage healthy competition. For us, during the meeting, we always award the person who participated the most. We award the person who came on time or who came as the first person. So we're saying we're just awarding good behavior to just make it fun and just let people have fun in a healthy way. And also encourage participation from the writers. Saying you can award good behavior, provide stationery if you can, give free books or alternative if you can. I've attended one meeting by a different convener of writers group, and what they would give is links to softwares to help a writer to be able to write their work. So these are free things on the internet, but because you organize them in a particular way, people will always appreciate that you gave something. So it doesn't have to cost you money or to be expensive. You can or it doesn't even have to be a book. You can just think of things that are in your disposal that you can freely give to other people. I would want to talk a little bit about serving your writers. Money is important and it's good for you to be sustainable. Otherwise, the writers group is going to close because of financial difficulties. But don't put money or revenue in front of your face. If you're thinking, how am I going to gain financially by convening a group, then you will have missed the point. Your group has to have a bigger purpose than actually making money out of it. Constantly evaluate if you're really meeting the need of the authors. It's important to keep asking people, how is the progress, what's your need, so that you make sure you remain relevant. Then you should follow up on the writers' project away from the group to just make sure that you're giving input as much as you can. Then seek to add value to the writers. What is it that you can help them to just be able to improve their lives or improve their book project or improve their writing? Then it's important for you to identify serious writers. In any group, you have serious people, you have those who are there just for fun, you have those who came because they were told they must come by somebody, different person. But identify those people who are really serious and just be able to put that extra effort into their project. You should also watch the numbers. When we did the launch and we had about 150 people in attendance, and all of them were mostly interested in writing or publishing, one of the things was that you're not able to be personal with all of them or allow everybody to be available to air what it is that they're going through. And so we've learned over time that small can be better. If you have 10 people, you have 5 hours, you can have an opportunity to allow all of them to be able to say something about themselves. Then value the individual writers. just to think of it, if you had just two Apostle Pauls and they write the entire, half of the entire New Testament, that is such an important thing. Or you could have one Miles Monroe in your group. And so just value everybody or individual writers, because you never know what's God's plan for these individuals. And so when you nurture a Miles Monroe, and you know that you contributed to their success, then that will be an honor to you, and also you'll be honoring God. I'm going to talk about financial sustainability. When we did our first meeting, we actually incurred the costs from our pockets, and it's not sustainable because you can't keep that going. And so you have to check what is it that you're offering, or what is it that is costing you financially, and how can you be able to meet that need without having to go to your pocket all the time. You also want to be able to enjoy that time when you're calling people and convening a meeting, and not to think, oh man, this is another month, I need to look for this money. And so one of the things that have worked very well for us is, yes, we offer free value addition services, but also we use that as a platform to sell other things. For example, we sell books. We always have a book table during our meeting, and people always buy books, and so that becomes a source of income for us. So you can say you get free training, you don't have to pay for it, but can you purchase a book? And so that means you'll be able to cater the cost for convening the meeting. We have also, the first few meetings, we did not charge any fee, but with time, we charged a minimum fee for us. We charge about $10 to attend the meeting every 6 weeks. The writers, they have a registration fee, which is $10. And with that $10, we also make it worthwhile, because we give a free book in every meeting. We offer a 10 o'clock snack, or the networking break snack, good snack, quality snack. And we also offer lunch, because then our meetings run all the way up to 1 to 2 p.m. And so we are adding value even with the registration fee that the writers are paying. And then the other way is you can find partners who are aligned to your mandate or purpose, and they'll be willing to cater for the cost of the meeting. So if you found somebody who is passionate about maybe teaching writers how to write well, or how to, have editorial excellence, or how to do book designs for the books, and then you tell them, I'm bringing together 30 people, it's going to cost $300, and they say, we will cater for that. So just find what will work for you in your country and in your circumstance. My other point is, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. It's already invented. All you need to do is to just align it to what will work for you. And innovation occurs when someone improves on something or makes a significant contribution, because it takes much more effort to reinvent the wheel than to improve on it. And so the question to ask yourself is, who is doing something significant in your area of interest? Can you learn from them, or can they partner with you? And I'll give an example for CLC Kenya is the MAI trainings, which we contextualize for our Kenyan local writers. CLC Kenya has attended MAI for 2 years now, or about 2 years. And what has worked for us is, for example, there's this training that has been done maybe from somebody from the US, and the content is very good for us, but not all of it is good for us or relevant for us. And so we take that and we use that as a platform to be able to develop our own content, to be able to train our writers. I'll give an example. The one we just did 2 weeks ago, is how to write an autobiography or memoir. That was the title for CLC Kenya's training, but that was based on a training that MAI had done and we had attended on a story to tell biography, which was done by Jeanette Window. Now, what happens is for example, now when MAI sends the PowerPoint presentations and the links and the different things, we just take that and we know what is important because of how our community is, and we are able to take what is important and leave out what is not important. And so that has really helped us, because then we don't have to start the research afresh, because we already trust MAI and the trainings that they do. The other one is content marketing strategies for authors. That was the title of CLC Kenya's training for the authors. And that was based on a training by MAI, which was done in October 2018. And MAI's training was content marketing strategies for authors and publishers, reaching to a different generation, which was done by Melvin Rivera. It was a very good training. And so we picked that and we contextualized that in our setting. And that gives us more speed, because then we are able to have content that we trust and it's ready for consumption. Before we got into MAI's trainings, as I said, we had designed to run our Authors Club since 2015. And the main challenge we had was on content, like what do we really train the writers on? And while attending MAI's trainings, we realized, you know what, we already have a credible partner as far as the trainings are concerned. And so all it needed was to just write an email to Ramon and say, this is what we are planning to do. And can we use part of what we are learning to be able to do that? And MAI was very gracious and was like, please go ahead. I'll just discuss a little bit about the benefits of innovation. It increases probability of success as you have a foundation to start on. Now, for us, we are doing a training every 6 weeks. If we were to do the research from scratch, then it will be too much work. Yet we also have other work that we do at CLC, not just the writers group. And so our success rate is higher because we already have a foundation. And then it reduces on the cost. For example, we've never had a paid trainer or expert come to our meetings. Why? Because we already have an expert who is already a partner through MAI, and we don't have to pay for that. Innovation also increases healthy competition. As now, for example, for us now, we have new processes, we have new ideas, concept, but those ones are based on what MAI or another partner is already doing. And then it improves on brand recognition and value. For example, now CLC Kenya's Authors Club is already has a reputation that you will always get credible training through CLC Kenya. And then it helps to form new partnerships like we have between CLC Kenya and MAI, and also increases the turnover and improves on profitability. The other thing is for you to use technology and automate your work. Long are the days where you have to write or start everything from scratch. Now with this one, if you understand technology, then you can use it to just make sure it is working for you. I can give an example of like the Zoom that MAI uses. They schedule the emails to remind you to actually attend the webinar. And so you just need a few minutes or one day to sit and set up everything that you need to tell the people that are coming. It's the same with a writers group. Just make sure you're using technology to remind people to do different things. And so you don't have to spend all your time doing the emails or the follow-ups. For us, CLC Kenya, for invitations, we use Eventbrite and Facebook. They help us to collect the data. They help us to schedule different communication, reminders, directions, and so forth. And because we did that at the beginning, we just copy and paste that and automate, and people will get the communication even if we never went back to these technology things again. So once we set up the Eventbrite, that's it, and you automate and schedule and say 7 days before, remind people about this, 2 days before, give the directions, 1 day before, and so forth. So don't use so much time to do the actual admin of the writers group. Just use technology and automate. Then for follow-up, for us, what worked well for us is MailChimp. And we got to hear about this from one of our African directors, Petra, and it was so simple. And she was like, oh, you can try this. And it's been such a blessing for us, because then we just put the emails when you send out the newsletter or the information, it's very professionally done and people appreciate that. Then you can also use social media. And like I said, just find what is relevant for your group. And you can also use podcast. Then for the training, you can also incorporate e-learning for further input. Depending on the things that you, or the purpose that you set up your writers group for, then you're able to put that on an e-learning platform. There's so many that are free, maybe Teachable, Edmodo, all of those. Just find what technology will work for you. And then bring on board like-minded partners. Like I said, it brings credibility, it ensures accountability. And for example, if I was to do a training and I know a partner is on board, even as a human being, you just want to do the best, because you know there's somebody else who is checking you out to make sure that you're actually delivering what you had agreed. And then also partner with established organizations to just make sure that you're bringing in that excellence in your writers group. I would want to take this question, and I want to honor Kent for sending the question ahead of time. And so I will answer this, and then I will hand over to Ramon to receive any further questions. And Kent asked, how do you get people to come to the meetings? And I wanted to share from our experience and answer this question. One, I said through prayer. Remember, you're serving God, so it's God's event, and so you have to rely on Him. I can share this story that I had last year. I had really wanted to meet a particular head of publishing manager or person from another CLC country. CLC is in about 50 countries. And so this particular country has been very successful in publishing, and they move millions of dollars as far as publishing is concerned. And last year, towards end of last year, I actually got to meet her, and I carried my notebook because I was very sure she was going to give me some very serious stuff to just come and develop our publishing in Kenya. And she told me, I only have 1 point for you, and you don't even have to write it. She told me, because I asked, how do you pick these books that become so successful? And she told me, I pray a lot. I was like, really? That's it? And she told me, yeah, if you pray, God is able to show you who and what and where, and that was the end of the conversation. And so I would want to apply that. How to get people to come to your meetings? You have to be a prayerful person, so that God is giving you the wisdom to just be able to know exactly what to do at different times. Then the second thing is make your event worth attending by touching on their pain points. Everybody wants to come to somewhere where they know that their problems will be sorted out. And so as you do your wordings or do your advertisement, just make sure that you're touching on the pain points of your writers. And then show them the long-term benefits receivable post the event. For example, you can say, if you attend this autobiography training, then or writers group, then you'll be able to get support through this author who has already published their autobiography. So people want to know, oh, yeah, I'll get something beyond the actual event day. And then advertise your event in the right watering holes. which I had already talked about. Then highlight the awesome topics you'll be touching on in the event. Make sure you're so clear. Bullet what it is that people will be able to receive by attending that meeting. Then provide a call to action for them to share with family and friends. You just want people to be able to share with other people about your event, but you don't want, you want to keep the call to action somewhere where it's visible for them to be able to easily share with other people. Then put a face to the event, like the convener, the host, the guests. When we started, I am a good planner, and I am not, personally, I'm not a public figure kind of a person. And so I did not want to put my face out there. And I remember our regional director for Africa saying, no, you have to put your face there. So say, redo the poster and just make sure you're putting the faces there. And so having done that, all the event, now I have my face there as the convener, and then I have a guest, maybe one or two, and sometimes I have a facilitator's face. It's because people want to see real human beings. And also when people see the advertisement, some of the people will attend just because they know the speaker, or because they know the facilitator. And so make sure you put a face to the event, and then use your networks. The people that know you are the ones that trust you enough to refer you or to recommend your event to other people. And so for us, we'll share with pastors we've worked with over the last decade and say, oh, Pastor so-and-so, we are having this event. Do you have somebody in your church you can recommend? Or partners we've worked with, like other bookshops, we'll share with the managers and say, for example, maybe Biblica or Keswick, and we say, we are having this event. Do you know a customer or somebody in your network that would benefit? And when these people, these partners, or these people who know you, they will share with other people who trust them. So it becomes much easier for you to get a good turnout, because everybody trusts every other person, even if they all don't know one another. And then use technology to analyze. Like the ones I've mentioned, Eventbrite or Facebook, they will always tell you, where did your people come from, maybe up country, maybe in the urban setting, to make sure that you aim the next event in the right, or you advertise in the right place, and also automate to remind people to sign up or to attend your event. Thank you very much, Ramon.
Thank you so much, Muthoni Mercy. Thank you. We've learned a lot from you. And I'm sure there are also other questions from our audience. Eva is asking, is your writer group also coming from different publishers or people that are not published by CLC Kenya?
Yes. So our writers group is open. We have the minimum criteria, which is your content cannot contradict the Christian faith, because CLC Kenya is already a Christian missions organization. So
Okay.
for as long as you're born again, your content is advancing humanity, not just the Christian faith books, but even books on finance, books on parenting. For as long as you are advancing humanity, you can join the meeting.
I see.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. Eva, your other question is basically already answered in the presentation. How do you set this kind of writers group and how you maintain this group? I think Muthoni already answered your question. You have to review the presentation again. Lisa Anderson Umana, have you ever established a virtual writers group?
Please ask in a different way.
Well, these are people coming to a physical meeting, right? So Lisa is
Yes.
asking, what about, have you tried a meeting over the internet like this?
No, not particularly a writers group, but we have, like for example, we are mentoring people who have never written before, so first-time writers.
Mm-hmm.
And so the meetings are 12 meetings, which are virtual.
I
And
see.
so we meet once every week. And then we have a graduation, which is now a convened meeting because it's people in Kenya. But yes, we have done those that are just online
I
based.
see. So those are training. This is a training program, is it?
Those are
Online
training.
training. I see.
Yes, yes,
So it's possible to have a virtual writers group using technology. Why not? Meaning a
yes.
group that meets online from different countries. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Lisa, would you want to start it? Okay. Other, yes, thank you. That's a very good suggestion, Lisa.
Mm.
Yes, why not? And then come together at Lit World, something.
Yeah.
um, other questions from, yeah, that's, thank you, Lisa. Thank you, Eva, for your question. Yes, we are hoping to start one next year for Christian Camping International in Spanish. Wow, Lisa, thank you. Wow, thank you for sharing that. And we would like to hear from you after you have started it. And we pray and we hope that you could also learn from what Tony Mercy shared here and implement some of the helpful tips. Yes. Thank you, Lisa, for that. Uh, Other questions from our participants? Take advantage of Muthoni's and CLC Kenya's experience. You've done a lot in a short time, Muthoni.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
you have really empowered your group, and seems to be a a good plan to sustain it and to keep it going. I like
Thank you.
your line. You said people want to board the moving bus.
Yes.
So if you have not started your writers fellowship yet, um, start it and implement the suggestions and tips that Muthoni shared with us today.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think people are not, or they're already satisfied with your presentation. I promised those who have attended live that you will receive a PDF copy of our MAI resource on how to, your guide to writing a Christian writer group. So I will send that PDF to you, to all those who have joined us live today. Ina from the Philippines, do you invite non-Kenyan writers who are not Christians to be speakers in your event?
Um, for us, like I've said, we are a Christian missions organization, and because of our mandate, then mm, let me say all the speakers we've invited, they've been Christians, and so that's a bias because of our nature of the nature of our organization. That's what it is. So, but we are open to invite any person for as long as we have that understanding that. But in terms of participation, we've had people who are not Christians attend the meetings.
I see. So,
Yeah.
so far, all of your speakers have been Christians,
Yes, they
believers,
have
followers
been.
of
Yeah.
Christ. Yeah.
Yes. Although their books are not necessarily on Christian faith.
Okay.
So one of the speakers has done a book on it's about time, on time management.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a book that is not per se what I would cluster as Christian faith.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the other speaker has done accountability, um, which is just an emphasis on being accountable to God and to others. It's
Yeah.
not per se a Christian faith book.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the books have to be to help humanity to advance forward,
Mm-hmm.
not necessarily Christian books. But in terms of the speakers themselves, they have to be born again Christians. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, each group would have to make a decision whether they would like to invite
Yes,
even non-Christian speakers to come and
yes,
speak.
yes,
So
yes.
you would
Yeah,
have to make that decision.
yeah,
But as far as CLC Kenya is concerned,
yeah.
you have only invited Christian speakers, Christian
Yes,
resource
yeah.
people.
Hmm.
Okay. So thank you, Eva. Yes, it's our privilege, our joy to be able to present this topic. And David Munier, thank you, Muthoni. I attended one of your meeting and was so encouraged. This is a testimony from one of those who attended your
Oh,
writers group meetings. David,
yes.
keep up the good work. So yeah, that's
Thank you.
encouraging, David. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so I think we're just about over in our time. Any parting words, just to encourage our participants, just to encourage people who have joined us today. Just a short or parting words from you, Muthoni, to address
Mhm.
our audience.
Maybe my parting shot would be you have to determine why you're starting your writers group and write that down. Even probably send yourself an email so that when the going gets tough, you can always go back and remind yourself why you started the writers group. Sometimes you might have fallout in terms of the numbers or the writers. Sometimes it could be things are not working out in one way or another. But if you always remind yourself why you started the group in the first place, that will keep you going. And don't stop because there are challenges, because then if the bus stops, then other people will come and find the bus has already stopped. So you have to keep going even when the going gets tough, so that anytime people come, they will find that you're still continuing irrespective of the challenges.
That's really very important, Muthoni,
Yes.
to remind yourself to go
Yeah.
back to the very purpose why you organized the group,
Yeah.
especially when the going gets tough, when people
Yeah.
are not coming anymore,
Yeah.
when you encounter a lot of problems. Thank you
Yeah.
so much.
Mm.
Ria, from Ria, thanks a lot for the insight. Yes, that you are blessed. From Jean Pastor, I gleaned important insights for my ministry of the book and even beyond. Thank you. Yes. And
Welcome.
Henry, thank you so much, Mercy, Muthoni, Ramon, and others for the great work. I'm blessed. Thank you so much for all of your encouraging words. Um, Tell us, how are you doing in your respective writers groups, or in the future, if you have started one, let us know how you're doing. We would like to hear from you. So before we end our meeting, I just would like to invite especially our friends in the African continent to come to Lit Africa, a continent-wide training conference for African writers, African Christian writers, editors, publishers, booksellers, designers, script writers, and more. This will happen on November 5 to 7 in Accra, Ghana. Please visit our website, litworld.org, for more details. So I'm inviting everyone, especially for our members, our contacts in Africa, to come to Lit Africa, November 5 to 7 in Accra, Ghana. Uh, yeah, we have more comments from our participants. Galaxy, uh, this is from Maythin in Myanmar, who is appreciating our webinar. Thank you, Maythin. So we would like to say goodbye. This has been a very fruitful, a very good webinar. Thank you, Muthoni, Mercy.
You're
Yeah,
welcome.
thank you so much for blessing us with the sharing of your experience, your insights, your what happened, and how the Lord blessed the writers group in CLC Kenya. So God bless you, everyone. Lisa, thank you, and I will send this PowerPoint and also the link to the recording to you so you can share it with other people as well. God bless you all. Thank you, Musoni, and
Thank you.
thank you everyone for participating in today's MAI webinar. See you again next time.
Bye.
Bye for now.
Mm.